The autumn morning was cold and bright. Sunlight came through the tall windows of high school and made warm squares on the floor. Students walked through the halls with heavy bags and tired eyes. It was Monday, and nobody wanted to be there. Walked slowly to her classroom on the third floor. She was 17 years old with long black hair that she tied in a simple ponytail. She was not the student in her class. She was not the prettiest or the most popular. She was just ordinary. Teachers sometimes forgot her name. Boys never looked at her twice. She sat in the back of the classroom and spent most of her time drawing strange pictures in her notebook. Pictures of stars and planets and creatures that did not exist. Her best friend was already sitting in the classroom when arrived. Was the opposite of in every way. She was loud and funny and always had something to say. Her hair was short and dyed a light brown color that the teachers did not like. She waved at with a big smile. "You look like you did not sleep," said. "I did not sleep," answered. She sat down in the desk next to and put her bag on the floor. "I was reading." "Reading what?" "A book about how animals survive in dangerous places. How small animals escape from big animals that want to eat them." Made a face. "That sounds boring." "It is interesting," said quietly. "Small animals cannot fight. They cannot run faster than the big animals, so they have to be smart. They have to trick the big animals. They have to make the big animals think they are not worth eating." Laughed. "You think too much about strange things." Their homeroom teacher, Mr. Park, walked into the classroom. He was a tired man with gray hair and glasses that were always dirty. He taught mathematics and never smiled. He put his books on the desk and started writing numbers on the board without saying good morning to anyone. The classroom was full now. 30 students sat in their seats, talking quietly or looking at their phones under their desks. The class president was organizing papers near the front. He was a serious boy who always followed the rules. Sat alone in the corner as she always did. She never talked to anyone and spent all her time looking out the window. Was sleeping with his head on his desk. He was always sleeping. It was a normal morning, nothing special, nothing different. Then the lights went out. At first, nobody was worried. The lights in the school went out sometimes when there was a storm, but there was no storm today. The sky outside was clear and blue. Then they heard the sound. It was a deep sound, like a giant machine starting up somewhere far away. The sound got louder and louder. The windows started to shake. The desks started to move across the floor by themselves. Students grabbed their bags and looked around with wide eyes. "What is happening?" someone shouted. Mr. Park dropped his chalk. "Everyone stay calm," he said, but his voice was shaking. "It is probably just—" He never finished his sentence. The ceiling broke open. Pieces of concrete and metal fell down like rain. Students screamed and covered their heads. Dust filled the air, making it hard to see or breathe. Pulled under a desk and held her tight. When the dust cleared, looked up. 3 creatures stood in the middle of the classroom. They were tall, much taller than any human. Their bodies were covered in hard black shell like the outside of a beetle. They had too many arms, 4 arms each, with hands that had too many fingers. Their heads were shaped like triangles, with large eyes that were completely black. The eyes did not reflect any light. Looking into those eyes was like looking into empty space. The creatures wore strange devices on their chests. The devices made clicking and buzzing sounds. One of the creatures stepped forward. It was bigger than the others and it had marks on its shell that looked like symbols or writing. When it spoke, the device on its chest turned its words into Korean. The Korean was broken and strange, but could understand it. "Humans, you are now property of the Dominion. Resistance means death." A girl in the front row screamed and ran for the door. The big creature raised one of its arms. In its hand was something that looked like a weapon. It pointed the weapon at the door and pressed something. A beam of green light shot out. The light hit the door and the door melted. It did not burn. It did not break. It melted like ice in hot water until there was nothing left but smoking liquid metal on the floor. "No one leaves," the creature said. "We require specimens." The girl who had tried to run fell to her knees and started crying. Around the classroom, students were screaming, crying, praying. Some held each other. Some hid under desks. Mr. Park stood frozen like a statue, his face white with fear. The second creature, thinner than the first, held up a small device and pointed it around the room. "Commander," it said to the big creature, "these young ones show typical fear responses. Stress chemicals are high, heart rates are elevated. They are suitable for transport." "Good," Commander said. His black eyes moved slowly across the room, looking at each student like a farmer looking at animals. "Young specimens are valuable. They work longer. They break slower." The third creature moved to block the broken windows. There was no way out now. Watched everything from under the desk. Her heart was beating fast, but her mind was moving faster. She looked at the creatures. She looked at their weapons. She looked at the way they stood, the way they moved, the way they talked to each other. The big one was the leader. The other two never did anything without looking at him first. They were followers. They did not think for themselves. The weapons were powerful, but the creatures only had 3 of them. 3 weapons, 30 students. If everyone ran at the same time in different directions, the creatures could not stop them all. But that would be stupid. People would die, many people would die. There had to be another way. Remembered the book she had been reading. Small animals cannot fight. They cannot run, so they have to be smart. She thought about what the creature had said. They needed specimens. They needed the students alive. That meant they would not kill everyone. They could not kill everyone. Dead students were useless to them. That was important. Looked at who was shaking and crying silently. She looked at who was trying to be brave but failing. She looked at, still sitting alone, her face empty and pale. She looked at, finally awake, his hands shaking as he held his bag. These were her classmates, her people. They were weak and scared and had no weapons. But they were not stupid. And neither was she. Took a deep breath. She squeezed his hand once, then let go. She crawled out from under the desk and stood up slowly. The thin creature's device made a beeping sound. "Commander, one of the specimens is moving." Commander turned his empty black eyes toward. "Sit down, small one. Do not make me waste ammunition on you." Did not sit down. She did not run. She did not scream. She raised her hand, like she was asking a question in class. "Excuse me," she said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "I have a question." The classroom went silent. Everyone stared at her. Even the creatures seemed surprised. Commander made a sound that might have been a laugh. It was an ugly sound, like rocks grinding together. "The cattle speaks," he said. "Very well, small one, ask your question. Entertain me before I decide your fate." Lowered her hand. She looked directly into those black, empty eyes. And she smiled. "I was just wondering," she said, "if you have really thought this through." The classroom was completely silent. Dust still floated in the air from the broken ceiling. Sunlight came through the windows and made the 3 alien creatures look even more terrifying. Their black shell bodies seemed to eat the light instead of reflecting it. Stood alone in the middle of the room. Every eye was on her. Human eyes filled with fear and confusion. Alien eyes filled with nothing at all. Commander took a step toward her. The floor shook under his weight. He was so much bigger than her. His shadow fell over her like a dark blanket. "Thought this through," he repeated. His translation device made his voice sound strange and mechanical. "Explain yourself, small one. What do you mean?" Did not step back. She did not look away. She kept her voice calm and clear, like she was answering a question in class. "You said resistance means death, but you also said you need specimens, living specimens." She tilted her head slightly. "So if we resist, you will kill us, but if you kill us, you will not have specimens. That does not make sense." The thin creature, the one with the scanning device, made a worried clicking sound. Commander, her stress levels are not rising. Her heart rate is stable. She is not afraid. Impossible, Commander said. All humans fear us. We have conquered 12 human colonies. They all feared us. Maybe those humans were different, said. Or maybe they just showed their fear in ways you could see. Fear does not always look the same. Commander leaned down until his face was close to hers. His breath smelled like metal and something rotten. His black eyes were like two holes in the universe. Are you broken, human? Is there something wrong with your brain? No, said simply. I'm just thinking clearly. When I am scared, I think. It helps me feel better. Behind her whispered desperately, Please sit down, please stop talking. They will kill you. But did not stop. She could not stop. She had seen something in the way Commander reacted to her words. He was not just angry, he was confused. They did not know how to deal with a human who was not crying or screaming or begging for mercy. That confusion was valuable. That confusion was a weapon. Let me ask you another question, said. How many species have you conquered? Commander straightened up. Pride filled his voice. The Dominion has brought 47 worlds under our control. 47 species now serve us. We are the greatest empire in this part of the galaxy. 47 worlds, repeated. She nodded slowly like she was impressed. And when you conquered those worlds, how did the people fight back? They fought with weapons, ships, soldiers. They always fight the same way. Commander made that grinding laugh sound again. And they always lose the same way. So every species you conquered tried to use violence against you, and every species failed. Correct. That means you are very good at fighting violence. You have a lot of experience with it. You know exactly what to do when someone attacks you. The thin creature, who now understood was called Lieutenant, shifted nervously. Commander, I do not like where this conversation is going. But Commander raised one of his 4 arms to silence his lieutenant. He was interested now. Could see it in the way he held his body, the way he tilted his head. Continue, small one, make your point. Took a breath. If violence does not work against you, then violence is stupid. Only an idiot would try to fight you with weapons. You have better weapons. You have stronger bodies. You have more experience. She paused. But what if someone did not fight you at all? Then we would simply take them, as we are taking you now. Would you? Looked around the classroom. You have 3 soldiers. We have 30 students. Your weapons are powerful, but you cannot watch all of us at the same time. You cannot read our minds. You cannot control what we think or what we plan. Lieutenant's scanner beeped loudly. Commander, I am detecting increased neural activity among the specimens. They are listening to her. They are thinking. Let them think, Commander said. Thoughts cannot hurt us. Are you sure? Asked. You said the other species always fought with violence. That means you have never faced an enemy who used only their mind. You have no experience with that kind of resistance. You do not even have a word for it, do you? Commander was silent for a long moment. The other students watched with wide eyes. They did not understand what was doing, but they could feel something changing in the room. The fear was still there, but something else was growing beside it. Something that felt almost like hope. The class president slowly stood up from behind his desk. His legs were shaking, but his voice was steady. She is right. You cannot kill all of us. You need us alive. Sit down, Lieutenant barked. But did not sit, and then stood up, and then a girl named, and then 2 boys from the back row. One by one, the students rose to their feet. They were still scared. Their hands were shaking, some of them were crying, but they were standing. Commander's weapon hummed in his hand. Green light pulsed inside it, ready to fire. Sit down, he commanded, all of you now. Or what? Asked. You will kill us. Then you will have no specimens. You will return to your masters with nothing. What will they do to you, Commander? Do the reward failure? Lieutenant grabbed Commander's arm. She is manipulating you. This is some kind of human trick." "It is not a trick," said. "It is just logic. You need something from us. That means we have power, not much power, not enough power to fight you, but enough power to make your job very, very difficult." Commander shook off Lieutenant's grip. He stared at with those empty black eyes and for the first time saw something in them. Not anger, not confusion. Fear. The great commander of the Dominion was afraid of a 17-year-old girl who had never held a weapon in her life. "What do you want?" he asked. His voice was quieter now. "Right now, nothing." Sat back down in her chair. The other students slowly sat down too. "I just wanted you to understand something. You are not in control here. You think you are because you have the weapons and the strength. But control is not about weapons. Control is about choices. And right now, we are choosing to cooperate. We are choosing to sit quietly and not cause trouble." She folded her hands on her desk, like a good student waiting for class to begin. "But we can choose differently at any moment, and you cannot stop us. You can punish us, yes. You can hurt us. You can even kill some of us, but you cannot make us do what you want. You can only ask and hope we say yes." The classroom was silent again, but it was a different kind of silence now. Before, it had been the silence of fear and helplessness. Now it was the silence of understanding. The students looked at with new eyes. She was not just the quiet girl who sat in the back and drew pictures in her notebook. She was something else. Something they did not have a name for. Commander turned away. He walked to the broken ceiling and looked up at the sky. "The transport ship will arrive in 4 hours," he said. "You will all be on it, cooperating or not." "Maybe," said, "we will see." Lieutenant leaned close to Commander and spoke in a low voice that the translation devices did not catch, but could guess what he was saying. Something was wrong. The mission was not going according to plan. And it was all because of one ordinary girl who had read a book about how small animals survive. Looked out the window at the clear blue sky. Somewhere up there, an alien ship was waiting to take them all away. They had 4 hours. 4 hours to think. 4 hours to plan. 4 hours to prove that humans were not cattle. She picked up her pencil and opened her notebook. On a blank page, she started to write. The battle for the classroom had just begun. 1 hour had passed since the aliens broke through the ceiling. The sun had moved across the sky and the squares of light on the floor had shifted to new positions. Everything else remained the same. 3 alien soldiers, 30 human students, 1 broken door, 1 shattered ceiling. But something had changed. The students were no longer crying. They were watching, waiting, looking at like she was their captain in a war they did not understand. Sat quietly at her desk, her notebook open in front of her. She had written many things in that notebook over the past hour. Plans, ideas, questions. She crossed out most of them. They were too dangerous, too obvious, too likely to get someone killed. She needed something different, something they would never expect. Commander stood by the windows, looking out at the city below. Lieutenant walked between the desks, scanning students with his device. The 3rd soldier, whose name did not know, guarded the melted doorway. Leaned close to and whispered, "What are you writing?" "A plan." "What kind of plan?" Did not answer. She was watching Lieutenant. Every time the alien passed a student, his scanner made different sounds. Beeps and clicks and buzzes. Had been listening carefully, and she had started to understand the pattern. Fast beeping meant fear. Slow beeping meant calm. A high-pitched sound meant the student was sick or injured. Information. Everything was information, even the sounds of an alien scanner. Raised her hand. Commander turned around. "What do you want now, small one?" "I want to help you." Every student in the room stared at her. His mouth fell open, looked like he might be sick. Lieutenant laughed. It was an ugly sound like breaking glass. "Help us. You are a prisoner. You cannot help us." Yes, I can, stood up slowly. You said you need specimens for labor camps, workers, but not all workers are the same. Some are strong and can do hard work. Some are smart and can do complicated work. Some are sick and will die quickly, wasting your resources. Commander's black eyes narrowed. Go on. I know these students. I know who is strong and who is weak. I know who is smart and who is stupid. I know who is healthy and who is sick. She pointed at who sat frozen in his seat. That boy has a sickness called diabetes. He needs medicine every day or he will die. If you take him without his medicine, he will be dead in a week. Useless. Lieutenant scanned. The device made a strange warbling sound. She is correct. This one has an abnormality in his blood chemistry. I can help you identify problems like this, continued. I can organize the students for you, put the strong ones together, the smart ones together, the sick ones separate. I can make your job easier. Commander took a step toward her. Why would you betray your own species? I am not betraying anyone, I am being practical, kept her voice flat and emotionless. You are stronger than us. You have weapons, you have a ship. Fighting you is suicide. Running is impossible. The only logical choice is to cooperate and survive. She is lying, Lieutenant said. This is a trick. Is it? Asked. Scan me, check my stress levels, check my heart rate, I am telling the truth. Lieutenant pointed his scanner at her. The device beeped slowly and steadily. No fear, no deception. Commander was silent for a long moment. Then he made a decision. Very well, small one. Show me what you can do. Nodded, she walked to the front of the classroom, moving slowly and calmly, like she had all the time in the world. The other students watched her with confusion and fear. Some of them looked angry. They thought she was a traitor. They did not understand, not yet. First said, the sick ones need to be identified. Please stand up. Stood slowly. His face was pale and sweaty. When did you last take your medicine? This morning before school. And when do you need to take it again? This afternoon, around 3 o'clock. The medicine is in the nurse's office on the first floor. Turn to Commander. If you want this specimen to survive transport, he needs that medicine. I can go get it for him, or one of your soldiers can go. Either way, without the medicine, he is worthless to you. Commander considered this. His eyes moved to the melted doorway, then back to, Lieutenant, go with her to get the medicine. If she tries to run, kill her. Yes, Commander. Lieutenant grabbed arm with one of his many hands. His grip was cold and strong, like being held by a machine. They walked out of the classroom together, stepping over the puddle of melted metal that used to be the door. The hallway was empty and quiet. All the other students had been evacuated before the attack, or they were hiding somewhere else in the school. Only classroom had been targeted. Why? She did not know, but it was another piece of information, another thing to think about. As they walked, spoke casually. How long have you served, Commander? Lieutenant made a clicking sound. That is not your concern. I am just curious. The hierarchy is very interesting. The commander gives orders and everyone else follows. No questions, no disagreements. It must be very efficient. It is the natural order. The strong lead, the weak follow. And if a leader makes a mistake? Lieutenant's grip tightened on her arm. Leaders do not make mistakes. Never. Smiled to herself but said nothing more. She had learned something important. They did not question their leaders. They did not think independently. They followed orders without understanding why. That was a weakness, a big one. They reached the nurse's office. Lieutenant broke the lock with one hand and pushed the door open. The room was small and white, filled with beds and medicine cabinets. Find the medicine quickly, Lieutenant said. We have wasted enough time. Search through the cabinets until she found insulin. She took it, along with some other supplies. Bandages, painkillers, water bottles. She put everything in a bag. What are you doing? Lieutenant demanded. You only need the one medicine. These supplies will keep the specimens healthy during transport. Healthy specimens are more valuable. Is that not correct? Lieutenant hesitated. He could not argue with her logic. Fine, take the supplies but nothing else. They walked back to the classroom. Along the way, saw something through a window. Outside on the street there were police cars, many police cars and military vehicles, and crowds of people behind barriers. The school was surrounded. Lieutenant saw her looking. Your soldiers cannot help you. Our ship will arrive soon. We will take you before they can act. I know, said. I was not thinking about escape. I was thinking about how complicated this situation is for everyone. Back in the classroom, distributed the supplies. She gave his insulin. She gave water to students who were thirsty. She gave bandages to a girl who had cut her hand on falling glass. She organized the students into groups, strong ones near the windows, smart ones near the door, sick ones in the middle where they could be monitored. And as she worked, she talked. You will need to feed us before transport, she told Commander. Humans cannot work without food. We become weak and stupid. We have nutrient paste on the ship. Nutrient paste is fine for travel, but these students have not eaten since breakfast. That was 6 hours ago. Their blood sugar is low. They will start having problems soon. Headaches, confusion, fainting. Commander made an angry clicking sound. Then give them food. There must be food in this building. There is a cafeteria on the first floor, but going there means leaving this room unguarded, or sending a soldier with some students to get the food. Either way, you lose control. The commander's hands curled into fists. He was frustrated. Every solution created new problems. Every step forward revealed new obstacles. This was exactly what wanted. I have a suggestion, she said. Let me go with 5 students to get food from the cafeteria. Lieutenant can guard us. The other soldiers can stay here with the remaining students. We will bring back enough food for everyone. Why should I trust you? Because I have done everything you asked. I have not tried to escape. I have not caused trouble. I have been helpful. Spread her hands. What reason have I given you not to trust me? Commander looked at Lieutenant. Lieutenant looked at his scanner. Her stress levels are still normal. She is either telling the truth or she is very good at lying. Humans cannot lie that well, Commander said. They are too emotional, too weak. He pointed at, go, get the food. But if you try anything, Lieutenant will kill you and everyone with you. Bowed her head, I understand. She selected 5 students to go with her, and 2 others whose names she barely knew. They walked out of the classroom together, followed by Lieutenant. In the hallway, grabbed her arm. What are you doing? Are you really helping them? Looked at him with calm eyes. Every minute we waste is a minute the military outside has to plan. Every trip we make through the school is information about the building layout. Every supply we gather is something we might need later. But you are cooperating with them. No, I am making them need us. Every time they ask for our help, they lose a little bit of control. Every time we solve a problem for them, they become more dependent on us. She smiled. That is not cooperation. That is a trap. His eyes went wide. You have been planning this since the beginning. I have been planning since they said they need us alive. Started walking again. Now come on, we have food to get and a war to win. 3 hours had passed since the invasion began. The classroom had changed. It was no longer a prison. It was starting to feel like something else, something that did not have a word for. Students sat in small groups, eating food from the cafeteria. They talked quietly among themselves, sharing water bottles and protein bars. Some of them were even laughing softly at jokes could not hear. The fear was still there, hiding behind their eyes, but it was smaller now. Weaker. Something else was growing in its place. Commander watched this with growing unease. His soldiers stood at their positions, but they looked tired, confused. They had trained for many types of missions, battles, sieges, executions. They had never trained for this. Lieutenant approached the commander. His voice was low and worried. "Commander, something is wrong." "Explain." "The humans are too calm. My scanner shows their stress levels dropping. Their group cohesion is increasing. They are functioning as a unit now, not as frightened individuals." Commander looked at who sat in the back of the classroom with her notebook. She was writing something again, always writing. "It is because of her," he said. "The small one, she has done something to them. She has only followed orders. She has been helpful, cooperative." Too helpful, too cooperative. The commander's hands curled into fists. This is not how humans behave during conquest. They should be broken by now, crying, begging, fighting each other for scraps of hope. Instead, they are organized, united. They are following her lead. Should we separate her from the others? Commander considered this, but even as he thought about it, he realized the problem. If he separated the girl, the other humans would notice. They would ask questions. They might resist. And he could not kill her because she had become too useful. She knew things about the students that his scanners could not detect. She kept them calm and manageable. He had become dependent on her. The realization hit him like a physical blow. This was exactly what the girl had warned him about. She had said that control was not about weapons. She had said that they could choose to cooperate or not. He had not listened. Now he was trapped in a situation he did not understand, facing an enemy he could not fight. "Commander," the third soldier called from the doorway, "the transport ship has not made contact. Communications are failing." "What do you mean, failing?" "There is interference, static. I cannot reach the ship or the fleet." Commander pushed past the soldier and activated his own communication device. He heard nothing but crackling noise. He tried different frequencies, different channels. Nothing worked. They were cut off. From across the room, watched with quiet satisfaction. She did not know exactly what was happening, but she could guess. When she had walked through the hallway with Lieutenant, she had seen the military vehicles outside. She had also noticed something else. The quiet girl who never talked to anyone had stopped walking for a moment near a window. She had looked at the vehicles with a strange expression on her face. Later in the cafeteria, had asked her about it. "My father works for the government," had whispered. "He studies radio signals, communication technology. He always talks about how easy it is to disrupt wireless signals if you have the right equipment." "Do you think the military outside has that equipment?" "I think they have everything." That conversation had given an idea. She had asked to do something simple, to write a note on a piece of paper, to fold it very small, to throw it out a window when no one was watching. The note had said, "Block their communications. We are buying time. Do not attack. Trust us." Did not know if father had received the note. She did not know if the military had followed her suggestion, but something was happening. The aliens were losing contact with their ship, and that meant the balance of power was shifting. She stood up and walked toward Commander. The other students watched her with wide eyes, but they did not stop her. They trusted her now. They believed she knew what she was doing. "Commander, is there a problem?" Spun around, his eyes were wild with anger. "What have you done? What trick is this?" "I have done nothing. I have been sitting here the whole time. Your soldiers have been watching me," kept her voice calm and reasonable. "Perhaps there is a technical problem with your equipment. These things happen." "They do not happen. Our technology is superior. It does not fail." "Then maybe someone is interfering with it." Commander grabbed her by the throat and lifted her off the ground. His grip was crushing. Could not breathe. Black spots appeared in her vision. "Tell me what you have done, human. Tell me or I will kill you." The students jumped to their feet, shouted something, screamed, but they did not run away. They moved toward the commander, not away from him. "Put her down," shouted. "Let her go," another student yelled. Lieutenant raised his weapon. "Everyone stay back, I will fire." But the students kept moving. They formed a circle around Commander and 30 young humans against 3 alien soldiers. No weapons, no training, just unity. Could not speak, but she managed to make a sound, a small laugh escaping through her crushed throat. Commander stared at her. "You are laughing. I am killing you and you are laughing." Through the pain and the darkness forced out words. "You cannot kill me. I can kill you with one squeeze of my hand. Then you lose everything." Commander looked around. The students were so close now. He could see the fear in their eyes, but he could also see something else. Determination, anger, love. They cared about this girl. They would do anything for her. If he killed her, they would attack. They would not win, but they would fight. And fighting meant casualties. Casualties meant fewer specimens. Fewer specimens meant failure. He could not kill her. She had made herself too important. With a sound of frustrated rage, Commander threw across the room. She hit a desk and fell to the ground, gasping for air, and ran to her side, helping her up. "This changes nothing," Commander said. "The transport ship will come. The interference will be cleared. You will all be taken." Rubbed her throat. Her voice was rough and painful, but she forced herself to speak. "Maybe, but not yet. And every minute that passes is a minute you lose control. Look at your soldiers, Commander. They are tired. They are confused. They did not train for this kind of mission." Lieutenant and the third soldier did look tired. Their bodies were tense with stress. Their weapons hung heavy in their hands. "Look at my classmates," continued. "They are scared, but they are not broken. They are working together. They are supporting each other. They have hope." She stood up straight, even though it hurt. "You have been fighting humans all wrong. You used force and fear. You expected us to break, but humans do not break easily. We are like water. When you push us, we flow around you. When you try to hold us, we slip through your fingers." Commander said nothing. There was nothing to say. "Your empire has conquered 47 worlds," said. "You have millions of soldiers and ships that can destroy cities. You have technology we cannot even understand. And yet here, in this classroom, you are losing to a group of teenagers with nothing but their minds." She walked toward him, stopping just out of reach. "This is what humanity does. We adapt. We survive. We find ways to win when winning should be impossible." She smiled, even though her throat burned with pain. "You came here looking for slaves, but you found something else. Something your empire has never faced before." "And what is that?" Smile widened. "An enemy you cannot defeat by force. An enemy that gets stronger when you push it. An enemy that learns and changes and never, ever gives up." The classroom was silent. The students stood behind like an army without weapons. The aliens stood alone, surrounded by enemies they could not shoot. Outside, the military vehicles moved closer. The interference continued. The transport ship did not come. And in the space between heartbeats, the balance of power shifted forever. They had come to Earth looking for cattle. They had found something far more dangerous. They had found humans. The sun was setting. Orange and red light filled the classroom, making the broken ceiling look almost beautiful. 6 hours had passed since the invasion began, the longest 6 hours in the history of high school. Commander stood by the window looking out at the dying day. His soldiers sat on the floor, exhausted. Their weapons lay beside them, forgotten. The humans had not attacked, had not run, had not done anything violent. And yet somehow, impossibly, they were losing. Sat on her desk, her legs hanging over the edge. Her throat still hurt from when the commander had choked her, but she did not care. She was watching the aliens, studying their movements, learning their weaknesses. The third soldier spoke. "Commander, I have been trying to contact the ship for hours. The interference is getting stronger, not weaker. Someone out there is deliberately blocking our communications." "I know," Commander said. He did not turn around. "What should we do?" "I do not know." The words hung in the air. Lieutenant and the third soldier stared at their commander in shock. They were a hierarchical species. Leaders always knew what to do. Leaders never admitted weakness. Leaders never said those three terrible words. "I do not know." Slid off her desk and walked toward the window. She stood beside Commander, looking out at the same sunset. "It is beautiful, is it not?" she said. "The sunset." "I do not understand beauty." "That is sad. Humans find beauty everywhere, in sunsets, in music, in the faces of people we love." She paused. "Even in moments of danger and fear, we can find something beautiful." "You are a strange species." "We really are." Turned to face him. "Commander, can I tell you something?" "You will tell me whether I want to hear it or not." "That is true," she almost smiled. "I want to tell you that you have already lost, not because your ship cannot come, not because the military is outside, but because of something much simpler." "Explain." "You came here to take slaves, but you have spent 6 hours talking to us instead. You have listened to our requests. You have let us get food and medicine. You have allowed us to organize ourselves. Every time I asked for something reasonable, you agreed. Do you know why?" Commander was silent. "Because saying no would cost you more than saying yes. Every time you agreed to one of my requests, you thought you were keeping control, but actually you were giving control to me, little by little, piece by piece." Spread her hands. "Now look at us. We are not prisoners anymore. We are something else, something in between. You are still trapped in this room." "Are we?" Looked around. The students were standing now, scattered throughout the classroom. Some were near the broken door, some were near the windows, some were behind the aliens in positions the soldiers could not watch. "Your soldiers are tired. Their weapons are heavy. They have not eaten or rested in hours. My classmates are fed, hydrated, and united. If we decided to leave this room right now, all at once in different directions, could you stop us?" Lieutenant raised his weapon weakly. "We could kill many of you." "Many, not all," nodded. "And then what? You would have dead specimens, exhausted soldiers, and no way to contact your ship. The military outside would hear the weapon fire. They would come in. And you would have to fight trained soldiers while also dealing with surviving students who are very, very angry about their dead friends." She took a step closer to the commander. "You have 2 choices. First choice, you try to force us onto your ship when it finally comes. We resist, people die. Your mission becomes much harder, maybe impossible. Second choice, you leave. Right now, walk out of this school, go back to your ship. Tell your commanders that this mission failed. Tell them that Earth is not worth the trouble." Commander's black eyes stared at her. "We cannot leave with nothing. That would be failure. That would mean death for us." "Not necessarily. You could tell them something else, something true." His voice softened. "Tell them that humans are different. Tell them that we do not break like other species. Tell them that we adapt and cooperate and find ways to win even when we are weak. Tell them that conquering Earth would cost the Dominion more than it would gain." "They will not believe me." "Make them believe you. You are a commander. You have spent 6 hours learning about humans. You know things now that no other knows. Use that knowledge." She reached out and touched his arm, the first human to touch it without violence. "Go home, warn your people, and maybe someday our species can meet again as equals instead of enemies." The classroom was completely silent. Every student held their breath. The sun continued to set, painting the sky in shades of fire. Commander looked at its hand on his arm. Then he looked at her face. Then he looked at the students standing throughout the room, watching him with eyes that were no longer afraid. "You are not cattle," he said finally. "I was wrong about that. We are not. Your species is dangerous, more dangerous than any weapon. We can be. If we return to Earth with a larger force, you will fight us. We will, and we might lose, but you will not win easily. The cost will be enormous, and you will never be able to trust any human captive because they might be like me. They might be playing a game you cannot see." Commander was quiet for a long time. The sunset faded. Stars appeared in the darkening sky. Somewhere outside, military vehicles hummed with power, waiting. Finally, the commander spoke. "Lieutenant, 3rd Unit, we are leaving." The soldiers stood up in shock. "Commander, this mission is over. We cannot complete our objective without unacceptable losses. We will return to the ship and report our findings to the Dominion." "But Commander, that is an order." The soldiers hesitated, then nodded. They gathered their weapons and moved toward the broken ceiling. One by one, they activated something on their armor and floated upward, rising through the hole they had made when they arrived. Commander was the last to leave. He stopped at the edge of the hole and looked down at. "What is your name, small one?" "My name is—" The commander repeated it like he was trying to memorize it. "I will remember that name. I will tell my people about the human who defeated 3 soldiers without lifting a weapon. I hope they listen." "They will, because I will make them listen." He paused. "Perhaps in another timeline we could have been allies. Perhaps in this timeline we are just 2 people who learned to understand each other a little bit." Smiled. "Good luck, Commander. I hope you find your way home safely." The commander nodded once. Then he activated his armor and rose into the sky. The students watched the aliens disappear into the darkness. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They could not quite believe what had happened. Then let out a shaky laugh. Did we win?" "Yes," said, "we won." The classroom exploded with noise. Students cheered and hugged each other. Some cried with relief, grabbed and lifted her off the ground in a tight embrace. "You are incredible. How did you do that?" "I just paid attention," said, "and I remembered something my grandmother used to tell me. The strongest weapon is not a sword or a gun. It is understanding. If you understand your enemy, you do not need to fight them. You can make them fight themselves." The military rushed into the building moments later. Soldiers swept through the halls, expecting to find carnage. Instead, they found 30 students standing in a ruined classroom, laughing and crying and hugging each other. A general approached. "What happened here? Where are the aliens?" "They left," said simply. "They decided we were not worth the trouble." "How? What did you do?" Looked at her classmates, at who had been so scared but stood up anyway, at who led even when leading was terrifying, at whose quiet note had helped change everything, at whose illness had become a tool instead of a weakness. "We did it together," she said. "We remembered that we are human, and that is enough." Later, reports would spread across the world. News stations would tell the story of the classroom invasion. Scientists would study the communications that the military had intercepted. Politicians would debate what this meant for humanity's place in the universe. But in that moment, none of that mattered. What mattered was that 30 ordinary students had faced an impossible enemy and won. Not with violence, not with weapons, with courage, creativity, and the simple belief that humans are never truly powerless. Walked out of the school into the cool night air. The stars shone overhead, brighter than she had ever seen them. Somewhere up there, Commander was flying home to warn his people about the strange little planet called Earth. She hoped they would listen. She hoped they would stay away. But if they came back, she knew something that gave her comfort. Humans would be ready. And humans would always find a way. The end.